In a sudden turn of events at a Las Vegas Trump rally, an unexpected guest took center stage. What transpired next would leave everyone speechless, captivating the audience and sending shockwaves through social media. The Las Vegas air crackled with excitement as Donald Trump, the ever-controversial Republican presidential hopeful, took the stage. Trump, known for his off-the-cuff remarks and unpredictable nature, began his usual stump speech, his distinctive voice booming through the speakers. But as he talked, something caught his eye. In the midst of the cheering throng. A flash of color stood out, a miniature American flag waving with fervent enthusiasm. However, it wasn't just the flag that captured Trump's attention, it was the woman holding it. Trump's cadence faltered for a moment, his train of thought derailing as he focused on this unexpected sight. Then, with a mischievous glint in his eye, he did something no one, not his campaign managers, not the Secret Service, and certainly not the audience, saw coming. He moved from the podium toward the fans to his left and pointed directly at the woman, singling her out from the thousands gathered. "Come on up here," he said, his voice amplified by the microphone, gesturing to the woman with the miniature American flag. "Yeah, you come on up." The crowd's collective intake of breath was almost audible as the Hispanic woman stormed the stage. This was unprecedented, unscripted, and entirely unexpected. All eyes were fixed on this encounter between the controversial presidential candidate and the mystery woman from the crowd. With a gentleness that seemed at odds with his public image, Trump extended his hand to the woman as she reached out to take it. He surprised everyone by pulling her into a warm embrace. The crowd let out a collective gasp, then erupted into cheers. But Trump wasn't done yet. He leaned in and planted a kiss on top of the woman's head. It was a paternal, almost tender moment. The woman, visibly overwhelmed by the unexpected turn of events, was filled with joy. Her eyes shone with unshed tears, and her smile was radiant as she reveled in the unexpected attention. The small American flag she had been waving was now held close to her chest, a vivid symbol of the moment. She cheered, waved, and squealed in delight at the sight of the former president so close to her, jumping on stage as if she could hardly contain her excitement. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and the crowd laughed heartily. Her smile seemed almost too bright to be authentic, and even Trump felt compelled to explain that this moment wasn't scripted. "Folks, you won't believe this," he began, his voice taking on a tone of conspiratorial excitement. The audience leaned in, hanging on his every word. "I swear to you, I think she is totally beautiful and great. I never met her before, I swear," he announced, his words echoing through the venue. As the initial shock wore off, the tension that had gripped the room just moments ago evaporated like morning mist. In its place, a palpable sense of curiosity settled over the crowd. Supporters in the audience exchanged looks of pleasant surprise. Even those who had come to the rally with doubts found themselves moved by the genuine warmth of the encounter. As the moment between Trump and the woman began to settle, the audience's attention was drawn to a glossy object in her hand. It was a magazine, the latest issue of People, featuring Trump and his family on the cover. "May I see that?" he asked, his tone surprisingly gentle. The woman quickly agreed, carefully handing over the magazine as if it were a precious object. Trump held it up for the audience to see, his face suddenly shifting to an overly dramatic look of distress. "Folks, take a look at this," he boomed, his voice carrying a note of theatrical indignation. "Now, I love the people at People magazine. They're good people, great people, but this picture," he paused for effect, his finger jabbing at his own image on the cover. On the large screens flanking the stage, the camera zoomed in on the magazine cover, revealing a family portrait of the Trumps. Donald Trump's image stood out, his nose appearing slightly larger and more prominent than usual. "Do you see what they did to my nose?" he continued, his voice a mix of amusement and mock outrage. It's like Pinocchio decided to run for president. The crowd burst into laughter, the previous tension having completely vanished. Encouraged by the response, Trump warmed to his impromptu comedy routine. He held the magazine up higher, ensuring everyone could see it clearly on the big screens. But Melania looked good, Baron looked good, I look like hell, he said, his voice a mix of amusement and mockery. The crowd chuckled, hanging on his every word. I have a feeling maybe they picked the picture. They might have picked it. I don't know. He paused for dramatic effect, his eyes scanning the audience. The laughter grew, with some supporters shouting encouragement. But that's okay because they meant well, Trump continued, his tone softening slightly. I think they wanted to make me look like Cary Grant. Do we remember Cary Grant? A murmur of recognition rippled through the older members of the audience, while younger attendees looked slightly puzzled. And I've always wanted to look like Cary Grant, Trump added with a self-deprecating shrug. But anyway, here's a fun fact. I think I'm on 14 magazine covers. I'm on more covers than any supermodel in history. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The crowd erupted in laughter again, clearly entertained by Trump's boastful yet self-deprecating performance. His ability to poke fun at himself seemed to endear him even more to his supporters, creating a sense of camaraderie in the arena. As the laughter subsided, Trump's expression softened. He looked at the woman who had handed him the magazine, his eyes twinkling with mischief. You tell me, he said, gesturing to his face. How's my nose? The crowd held its breath, waiting for the response. Trump leaned in slightly, a playful smirk on his face. It's fine, right, without missing a beat. The woman boldly and excitedly yelled into the microphone, It's beautiful and perfect. The arena erupted in cheers and laughter. Trump's face lit up with a broad grin. Clearly delighted by the woman's enthusiastic response, he gave her a thumbs up, basking in the moment. With a flourish, he autographed the cover, and as he handed the freshly autographed magazine to her, the woman's eyes sparkled with unbridled joy. Clutching the magazine to her chest with a beaming smile, she exclaimed, There you go. Now you've got a one-of-a-kind Trump original. Who knows, maybe that nose will be worth something someday. Without hesitation, she threw her arms around the presidential candidate, enveloping him in an enthusiastic embrace. The crowd gasped, then cheered at this display of affection. Breaking away from the embrace, the woman held the magazine high above her head, waving it triumphantly to the crowd. The audience responded with thunderous applause, many standing and waving their own flags and signs in solidarity. Trump, still caught up in the moment's unexpected warmth, placed a hand on the woman's shoulder. His expression softened, a rare glimpse of genuine emotion breaking through his usual bravado. He leaned toward the microphone, his voice carrying a note of curiosity and invitation. You know what Trump said, his tone surprisingly gentle. I think we'd all like to hear from you. He turned to the woman, whose eyes widened in a mix of excitement and nervousness. Would you like to say something to everyone here? The woman, still clutching her prized signed magazine, looked out at the sea of faces. For a moment she seemed overwhelmed by the attention, her earlier confidence wavering under the weight of thousands of expectant gazes. Trump, sensing her hesitation, gave her an encouraging nod. Go ahead, he said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. Tell us why you're here today. The woman took a deep breath, straightening her shoulders. She stepped closer to the microphone, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted it to her height. Then, with clarity, the woman's voice rang out through the speakers, I'm Hispanic, and I vote for Mr. Trump. We are for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump, her voice began to crescendo, carrying an emotional weight as she reached the end of her short speech. We love you. We love you all the way to the White House." The crowd erupted into thunderous applause, many rising to their feet. The woman's declaration, especially coming from a Hispanic supporter, seemed to electrify the arena. Trump's face broke into a wide smile, clearly pleased with this unexpected endorsement. As the woman stepped back, Trump moved forward to the podium, the expression on his face one of genuine surprise and gratitude. Seemingly energized by the moment, he kept his arm around the woman's shoulders. "Isn't she great, folks?" He boomed into the microphone, his voice filled with enthusiasm. The audience responded with thunderous applause. Caught up in the emotion of the moment, Trump couldn't contain his delight. His trademark grin spread across his face wider than ever before. He raised his arms in a triumphant gesture, clearly basking in this unexpected endorsement. For a candidate often criticized for his stance on immigration and his relationship with minority communities, this moment was political gold. Trump, seizing the moment, placed his hand on the woman's shoulder and turned to the crowd. "You see, folks, they love me. The Hispanic community loves Trump," he boomed into the microphone, his voice barely audible over the continued cheering. This was no longer just an interesting campaign anecdote. It had the potential to reshape the narrative around Trump's appeal to minority voters. Cameras zoomed in on the woman's face, capturing her genuine smile and the tears of joy that had begun to form in her eyes. The crowd's reaction was a mix of triumph and vindication. Trump's supporters in the audience exchanged knowing looks as if to say, "See, we told you so." Even those who had come to the rally with skepticism found themselves caught up in the emotional momentum of the moment. As the cheers began to subside, Trump guided the woman to the front of the stage. Together they waved to the crowd, presenting a powerful visual. The controversial candidate and a Hispanic supporter united in an unexpected moment of political harmony. As the thunderous applause began to wane, Trump gently placed his hands on the woman's back, guiding her toward the edge of the stage. The energy in the arena was still electric, the crowd buzzing with excitement from the unexpected turn of events. Trump, perhaps caught up in the woman's warmth, leaned in to give her a light hug. As he pulled back, he planted a quick, chaste kiss on her cheek, a common gesture of farewell in many cultures. What had started as a typical campaign rally had transformed into something entirely unexpected, a moment of genuine connection, cultural exchange, and political theatre rolled into one. In the age of viral videos and instant social media sharing, it was clear that this moment would live on far beyond the confines of the rally. Within minutes, clips of the warm exchange were spreading like wildfire across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Memes were being created in real time, with captions ranging from humorous to heartfelt. For Trump's campaign team watching from the sidelines, the implications were immediately apparent. This unscripted moment had the potential to reshape narratives, challenge preconceptions, and possibly bridge some of the divides that had characterized Trump's relationship with the Hispanic community. As the rally resumed its planned course, there was a palpable shift in energy. The crowd was more energized, more unified. For better or worse, this moment would be remembered as a turning point, a spontaneous interaction that had the potential to reshape the conversation around Trump's candidacy and his relationship with minority communities. But when the rally finally came to an end, the sea of red MAGA hats began to disperse, the air still buzzing with excitement. Amidst the crowd, a sharp-eyed reporter from a local news station spotted the woman who had become the unexpected star of the evening. Her face was flushed with excitement, and she clutched her signed magazine to her chest like a precious artifact. The reporter, sensing a story, made her way through the throng of people. "Excuse me," she called out, her press badge swinging as she navigated the crowd. "Would you mind answering a few questions?" The woman turned, her eyes widening in surprise. For a moment she seemed unsure, but then a smile spread across her face. "Of course," she said, her voice still hoarse from her earlier proclamations. The reporter quickly set up her cameraman, adjusting the lighting to capture the impromptu interview. "How did it feel to be brought on stage by the president?" the reporter asked. The woman's eyes sparkled as she replied, "It was one of the best days of my life in America." Her voice cracked slightly with emotion. "When I came to this country, I never imagined I'd be standing on a stage with the President of the United States. It's the American dream." You know, she laughed, a sound of pure joy that seemed to infect those around her. The reporter, sensing a powerful narrative unfolding, pressed on. "Do you have anything you'd like to say to other Trump supporters like yourself?" The woman's expression turned serious, her posture straightening as if she suddenly remembered the weight of her words. "To all my Hispanic brothers and sisters out there," she began, her accent becoming more pronounced as her emotions rose, "I want you to know why I'm standing here today, why I believe in Donald Trump." As she spoke, a small crowd began to form around her, drawn by the passion in her voice. Some nodded in agreement, while others listened intently, their own stories reflected in her words. "When my family came here, we had nothing but dreams and the clothes on our backs," she continued. "We worked hard day and night because we believed in the promise of America. And you know what? That promise came true for us. But it didn't happen by magic. It happened because this country gives opportunities to those who work hard and play by the rules." Her voice grew stronger, more confident. "Donald Trump understands that. He's a businessman. He knows the value of hard work. He wants to make sure that the opportunities my family had are still there for future generations of immigrants who came here legally, ready to contribute to this great nation." Sensing the power of the moment, the woman continued, "We're not victims, we are victors. We don't want handouts, we want opportunities. And that's what Trump is offering us, a chance to prove ourselves, to build our own American dream." The crowd around her began to cheer, their voices rising in a chorus of agreement. The woman, emboldened by their support, raised her voice for her final declaration: "He's fighting for us, for all of us, and that's why we will fight for him." The cheers erupted into a roar, with people clapping and chanting, "Trump, Trump, Trump." The reporter, realizing she had captured lightning in a bottle, signaled her cameraman to keep rolling. As the crowd began to disperse, their energy still electric, the woman found herself surrounded by well-wishers and fellow supporters, all eager to share their own stories and thank her for her bravery. In the span of a few hours, she had gone from an anonymous attendee to a voice that would echo far beyond the walls of the arena, potentially reshaping the narrative of the entire campaign. This unexpected moment at Trump's rally showcased the power of spontaneous human connection. What do you think about this interaction? How might it impact Trump's campaign? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.